Hey guys, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. Now last week I put out a video about HIVE mining. It was very well received by the community, so I wanted to follow it up this week by talking about another company involved in crypto mining. They mine Bitcoin and Ethereum. The company name is HIVE Technologies. It's based in Vancouver, Canada, so it's a Canadian company, you guys, and I think there's a lot of opportunity with this stock. Now before we get into it today, please take a second to smash the like button. It's free to do and it really helps get this content to other people like yourself who may find value. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. And let me know in the comment section below which of these two companies you prefer, Hut8 or HIVE, if you're currently holding shares, and what you think about their growth prospects moving forward. Now with that said, you guys, let's get into today's video. Okay guys, so that's right. Today we're going to be talking about HIVE Blockchain Technologies. Now this is another Canadian-based crypto miner. They're involved in Ethereum and Bitcoin mining. They're actually based in Vancouver, Canada. We just released a video last week on the channel about HUT8 mining. It received a ton of attention, and in the comments a lot of people were talking about alternative miners here in Canada, and HIVE was one that came up over and over again in the comment section. So I wanted to get this video out to compare and contrast the two companies so that you guys have a couple of options if you're looking to get exposure into the crypto space in the form of a miner type of company. Now I'm filming this video Wednesday night, so this share price is as of close on August 11th. And as you can see, fairly strong day here, up 2.5%, 10 cents a share, closed at $4 even. This is their Canadian listing on the TSX Venture. They're also listed on the NASDAQ exchange under the ticker symbol HVBT. So you can trade this one in either Canadian or US dollars, whichever you prefer. Now looking at a 1-year chart on HIVE, you can see they had a very strong run back in the middle of February here. They almost hit the $7 per share mark. They were up around $6.80. Now fast forward to May, they actually pulled back under the $3 mark. Very similar to what we saw with the actual price of Bitcoin. We saw that massive run up at the start of the year. And we've now seen HIVE make that push of about $1 per share, up from the $2.75 to the $3.75, $4 type of range. Now in terms of market cap on these guys, they have about 364 million shares outstanding overall. So that gives them a market cap very close to about $1.5 billion. So similar, maybe slightly bigger than what we saw with HUT8, but still a relatively small cap company and what I would consider to be a penny stock, as the share price is trading under $5. Now in addition to comparing HIVE to HUT8, the other reason I was super excited to get this video out is just the price action we've seen with Bitcoin and a lot of the cryptos in the last couple of weeks here. They're really making a big run again, and I think there's a lot of investor attention on this space, especially as government regulation has become a very hot topic around the world. Now in terms of video format, we're going to go through some recent developments with HIVE. We're going to talk about some recent news articles. Then we're going to jump over to their website. We're going to do a deep dive analysis on their business model, go through their investor presentation, and then we'll wrap things up with my thoughts on HIVE Blockchain Technologies moving forward. Now, as I was doing my research on a lot of these miners, a question came to mind. Why would you want to own miners versus the actual cryptocurrency itself, like Bitcoin or Ethereum? So very similar to the debate in the gold market, whether you want to hold physical gold or actual gold mining or the miner companies themselves. And ultimately, there's pros and cons on both sides of the debate. I think the answer is probably own a little bit of both and diversify your risk. Now, if you own the stock itself, particularly in this case HIVE, you get exposure to different cryptocurrencies, so Ethereum and Bitcoin. Now that helps balance out the ups and downs of the crypto market itself. And later in the video, we're going to talk about the 3 ways that mining companies in the crypto space actually see their share price move. So you've got a few different avenues in order to make money or see your investment succeed. Whereas with the actual Bitcoin or Ethereum or cryptocurrency itself, really the only way you're going to see your investment increase is if the actual price of that underlying commodity goes up. Now that being said, if you hold the cryptocurrency itself, like Bitcoin in this situation, there is in a sense less risk because you don't have to worry about any company overhead, management issues, cash flow, regulatory concerns. A lot of the variables or risks that go along with publicly traded companies aren't there if you hold the underlying asset. Now this article from The Motley Fool is a great read if you've been thinking about this in your own mind and wondering what's the best way to play the crypto market. So I'd encourage you to take a look, but I did want to call that out, you guys, because as mentioned, in my personal opinion, you want to get some diversification. I own Bitcoin myself. I have about $6,000 of Bitcoin. I just entered a position in HIVE mining last week. I actually added to that this week as well. And after doing this review on HIVE, I'm thinking I'll probably be adding this to my portfolio as well to even further diversify my exposure in this space. Now, before we get into the company analysis, I wanted to talk about a recent development at HIVE Technologies. Now, there's really two components to this article. So number one, this came out on July 30th. They gave an update that they're now expecting a $200 million average annual run rate based on current Bitcoin price around $50,000 Canadian. So phenomenal run rate given the market cap on this company. And in addition to that, very similar to what we saw with HUD-8, they've actually now purchased a number of new next generation miners to increase the power of their overall operation or their hash rate. Now, if you scroll down a little bit further, you can see based on current Ethereum and Bitcoin prices, HIVE Technologies is generating daily income of $550,000 Canadian, which actually translates to an annual run rate of about $200 million. So very similar to the production levels we saw with HUD-8. Now that being said, once HIVE does actually get the additional 4,000 miners online, they're expecting to be able to produce 272 petahash per second in terms of mining capacity. So huge numbers here, you guys, out of HIVE Blockchain Technologies. And they're actually expecting these 4,000 miners to come in two different shipments. 2,000 are going to be delivered in August, an additional 2,000 in September. So within the next 60 days, they should have these things up and running and in operation. And then finally, they give an update on their new data center, which is being constructed in New Brunswick, Canada. And this is actually expected to be a 20 megawatt Bitcoin mining facility. And we're going to look at their various different facilities later in the video here. With HUD-8, both of their locations were actually located in Alberta, whereas with HIVE, they've got some geographic diversification and they've actually got sites set up at various different locations. So if we now jump over to the HIVE website, I did want to give you a quick about us or intro to the company. So powering the future of blockchain computing, HIVE Blockchain Technologies is the first publicly traded crypto miner listing on the Toronto Venture Exchange in the year 2017. So they've been around on the exchange for about 4 years now under the ticker symbol HIVE. Now, one of their big claims to fame here, you guys, is this company uses 100% green energy for both their Bitcoin and Ethereum mining operations. And that's really been one of the main concerns or issues people have with crypto mining is the massive energy requirements and the impact that has on the environment. So HIVE has really addressed that, and they're leading by example here with 100% green energy, with a commitment to ESG, environmental social governance, since day one or when this company was actually created. And whether we're talking about plant-based proteins, biogas upgrading, biodiesel, we're really starting to see a lot of these ESG companies become very mainstream, and investors are looking to put their money into companies that they can feel good about while they earn a decent return on that investment. HIVE strives to create long-term shareholder value with its unique HODL or hold on for dear life strategy. And this is an acronym that's become very popular now, you guys. You've probably seen t-shirts, hats with HODL printed on the front. This is really the strategy with HIVE here, is they're planning to mine this stuff and hold on to these crypto assets as long as possible. And in doing so, they're really bridging the blockchain and cryptocurrency market with the traditional capital markets. So now that we've looked at HIVE's share price, we've talked about what they do, some of the recent developments and improvements they're making in their operations, I wanted to jump into their investor presentation. This is from Q3 of 2021, so fairly recent here. And overall, a very well put together investor presentation with a ton of information. So if you're interested in investing in HIVE or maybe you've already pulled the trigger, I would definitely recommend you take a look through this deck in more detail. There's a number of slides that I wasn't able to cover in this video, and I think it provides a lot of very relevant information about cryptocurrency mining and HIVE specifically in this space. So the first slide here, really high level, what is blockchain HIVE technology about? Again, we mentioned this was the first publicly listed blockchain company on the TSX. They initially raised $200 million when they went public. Now, what this company offers that Hut 8 doesn't is exposure to digital crypto mining with a portfolio of various crypto coins. So with Hut 8, they actually converted their Ethereum directly to Bitcoin, so you only have exposure to Bitcoin. With HIVE, you actually get exposure to a number of different crypto coins. So you really do get that diversification if you're bullish on the entire crypto market overall versus just maybe Bitcoin. Now they've got low working capital, and that really allows them to store a lot of those self-mined coins so they don't have to immediately go sell those to finance their business operations. And as mentioned, they've got a number of different locations up and running, but all of them are located in colder or cool jurisdictions, which obviously is better for mining activity, and they have low cost green renewable energy available at each one of these sites. So a couple of minutes ago, we talked about the decision you ultimately need to make as an investor, whether you want to own crypto mining stocks or the actual cryptocurrency itself. Now, as mentioned, with the cryptocurrency, the only way you're going to make money on that investment is if the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever the case is, actually goes up. Now, luckily, we've seen most of the big notable cryptocurrencies absolutely explode this year. So if you were invested in those traditional cryptocurrencies, you've probably done very well. Now, if you're looking to invest in an actual mining stock, there's three things that can actually move the share price of that company. So obviously front and center is that daily coin price. So exact same as being invested in Bitcoin itself. If the price of Bitcoin goes up, companies that mine Bitcoin are going to go up as well. However, the two other ways you can make money by investing in miners is looking at their current hashing power and their future potential hashing power. So as these companies announce expansion or the addition of terahash computing power to their network, the additional purchase of new computers or GPUs, their share price can go up from those news releases as well, even if the coin price itself doesn't move that specific day. And that's why a lot of times, even this week, we've seen the price of Hut 8 and HIVE move quite aggressively, maybe 8 or 10% in a day, when the actual price of Bitcoin only moves 4 or 5%. And we're going to look at a couple of charts here, actually comparing the performance of HIVE to Hut 8 to the overall crypto market, and you'll start to see exactly what I mean with this. So the first chart here is actually comparing the performance of HIVE company to the performance of actual Ethereum over the last 12 months. Now note, this is from January to December of 2020, but if you had gone out and purchased Ethereum at the start of the year, you would have had a 475% return. Now, if you had purchased shares of HIVE, you would have had over 2,400% return on that same invested money. So you can see here, this is the benefit of owning the miner itself versus the underlying asset. Now this chart here, same time period, you guys, 12 months, January to December of last year, shows HIVE's overall performance, again, 2,416% compared to competitors in this space and the price of Bitcoin itself. So you can see Riot Blockchain came in at 1,400%, Bitfarms came in at 400%, Hut 8 Mining, which we talked about last week, was at 226%. And the way they actually measure Bitcoin is through the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and that one was up 291%. So you can see of all the other ways you could have played crypto last year, HIVE truly was the most profitable. Now this leads us to another very interesting discussion. HIVE outperformed all of these other companies and assets last year. So there's two ways to look at this. Number one, an object in motion will continue in motion. So with that strategy, you might think, hey, HIVE has been on an absolute run. It's outperforming its peers. I'm going to invest in HIVE. The other way to look at this, and the way I've personally started out my position in the crypto miners, is to look at some of the laggers like Hut 8 and say, hey, you know what? They were a little bit behind last year, and now it's their time to shine. And this is really what we see with a lot of ETFs as well. Obviously, ARK was the golden child last year. That fund performed extremely well. But a lot of times what we see with ETFs and managed funds is the ones that overachieved in previous years actually tend to fall off, and we see new up-and-comers actually steal the limelight in future years. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that should dictate your investment style, but it is one thing to be aware about. If HIVE has already run up 2,400%, whereas HUD8 is only up 200%, at some point it does make sense that they come a little bit closer to the average. And then the final chart here, you guys, is HIVE's performance compared to the traditional capital markets. So you can see the Bloomberg Galaxy Crypto Index was up 277%. So absolutely crushed the NASDAQ at 45%. S&P TSX Composite was up 6% last year. So not even in the same ballpark when you're talking about the 2,400% gains of HIVE. And that really was a direct reflection of the massive bull run we saw in the crypto market last year. And that's exactly why I think all of your portfolios need some exposure to crypto, whether it's the actual coin itself, some of these miners, the ETFs, however you decide to play it is up to you. But I definitely think this asset class has value in any well-diversified portfolio. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about in this video, and we don't really discuss a lot in depth on this channel, is actually the management's ability to tell the story or get investor involvement or attention. Now, HIVE has done a very good job of navigating this, branding their company, and really telling the story of what they're trying to do in this space. So they've been featured in a number of research reports and traditional media outlets. You can see Stansberry Research, 133,000 views, Kitco, 68,000 views. So a lot of people are really watching this company and starting to understand the vision that the management team has. Now, a little bit closer to home for me personally as a YouTuber is the amount of YouTube coverage on HIVE Technologies. So you can see a number of different channels have picked up this company, the Firegrind, Steady Invest, and Blonity, just to name a few. And this is really what you want with some of these smaller cap companies, you guys, is to get retail investor attention. A lot of people are now turning to non-traditional media like YouTube to get investment advice and recommendations or ideas for companies. And that's really what I try and do on this channel. I'm not giving price targets. I'm not telling you what to buy or when to buy. I'm really just trying to open your eyes to potential investment opportunities, and then you can take it from there, do your own due diligence, and see if that particular company or investment fits with your style and portfolio. Now, if we jump back to their website here, you guys, I did want to talk about their various different mining locations. So HIVE Blockchain is currently operating in 3 different countries. Number 1, Canada here. So you can see their current operations are based in Quebec. Now, this is a photo of their Quebec facility. A couple of reasons that they're so excited about this market. They've got very competitive costs for green energy, skilled labor, and favorable tax rate here in Canada. Significant capacity for expansion at this site. And as most of you guys know who are watching this video, Canada is known for its cooler temperatures. So obviously that's a plus for any of these mining type of companies. Now, we saw they're also looking to build out a location in New Brunswick as well, but as of right now, Quebec is the hub here in Canada. Now, their Swedish facility, you guys, Sweden has one of the most stable political systems in the world. The government is actively exploring blockchain opportunities, and they're looking to really build out the cryptocurrency integration within their overall economy. Again, they have access to green or renewable energy, and that really allows HIVE to minimize that environmental footprint. And then the third location in Iceland, they've got mild temperatures year-round, again, very similar to what we see here in Canada. They've got geothermal or hydroelectricity, and again, that allows them to live into that ESG mantra. Now, in terms of what each location is actually focused on mining, in Iceland, they're focused on Ethereum, Ethereum Classic. Sweden is focused 100% on Ethereum mining, and Canada is focused 100% on Bitcoin mining. So I thought that was really interesting how they really divided and conquered, and each one of these countries or locations is 100% focused on one specific currency or coin. And whether it's Canada, Iceland, or Sweden, all 3 of these locations share a few things in common. They've got low electricity costs, which really allow HIVE to realize great margins on their mining activities. They've got low temperatures and fast, reliable internet connections. And that's really what's driving this impressive gross profit improvement year over year. So you can see in Q3 of 2020, they came in just below $4 million in gross profit. In Q3 of 2021, they were up near $11 million in gross profit. They're actually generating positive income per share. So for the 3-month period ending December 31st, 5 cents per share was generated. And for the 9-month period, So 3/4 worth of activity, 8 cents per share was actually brought in. Now you can see again, as of Q3, they mined 165 Bitcoin in-house, so nearly double what they saw in Q2 of 2021. This was really driven by the purchase of that facility in Quebec in Q1. And on the Ethereum front, Ethereum mining has gotten a little bit more difficult over the last couple of quarters. So we actually did see a drop from 32,000 in Q2 to about 21.5 thousand coin in Q3 of 2021. But still very healthy numbers here, you guys. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention before we close out this video is just some of the mainstream acceptance of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin specifically by the general public and some of these mega cap corporations. So most of you are probably aware Tesla actually dipped its toe in the Bitcoin market this past year. They purchased $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. Now, they have since sold some of this. Elon Musk is a huge fan of cryptocurrency, and this really did help spur that crypto rally we saw over the last 12 months. Now, on the capital market side of things, JP Morgan, some of these big banks, they were traditionally very against crypto. It was unregulated. They didn't know how to really integrate it into their portfolio. They've now endorsed a 1% allocation of all funds towards Bitcoin as a hedge on some of these traditional fiat currencies or other asset types. And I personally see Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as the future of banking and honestly money overall, because it is deregulated, it has that blockchain ledger, and people can really feel confident that their money or their investment is going to hold value. Now, recently we've seen a lot of volatility in these markets. However, I would expect as these coins become more mainstream and more globally accepted, we're going to start to see that flatten out and more closely mirror what we see with the traditional fiat currency exchange or volatility. So that's it for today's video, you guys. As mentioned, I wanted to do a deep dive on HIVE to really show you what this company is about, compare it to Hut 8 Mining. Now, some of the big benefits I see with HIVE is their exposure to multiple different cryptocurrencies or coins. They're diversified. They've got operations in 3 countries around the world. They've got that hold on for dear life strategy, and they're really looking to accumulate cryptocurrency, which I think is great as a potential investor in this company, because honestly, the only place I see Bitcoin and Ethereum going over the next couple of years and decades is up. And they've got a very strong management team with a huge following on social media and traditional media outlets. So for those reasons, you guys, I definitely think HIVE is worth taking a closer look at. I'm looking really forward to their next earnings report, and I'll probably be following that up with a video talking about some of the more recent numbers. Now, before I let you go, please make sure you take a second to like this video. It really does help the channel out, and it helps get this content to other people who may find value. If you're not subscribed already to the channel McNallie Money, feel free to do so. And let me know in the comments section below what you think of HIVE, how you think it stacks up to some of the other competitors in this space, and if you're currently holding any shares. On a final note, you guys, in the video description below, you'll see a link to Questrade. If you've been sitting on the sidelines, maybe you've been watching the crypto craze over the last 12 months, and you're ready to take that leap and get involved in investing, the first thing you need to do is set up a brokerage or trading platform. Questrade is the one I personally use. I would highly recommend it. If you click on the link below, you get a $50 credit that can be used towards your initial trade commission. So you're going to get a handful of trades free. So feel free to click on the link and let me know if you have any additional questions. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and have a great rest of your day.